Good morning, my beautiful, beautiful kings and queens. Hopefully, this is a beautiful day for you guys. So, for the empathetic people that have been sufferers of abuse, manipulation, just all sorts of evil acts um, against you, it's kind of like you become an expert in detecting toxic people and toxic patterns. And when you get out of a repetitive cycle of abuse or out of the company of abusive people and manipulative people, you're able to spot those tendencies very quick. And when you get out of certain situations and you are now healing from the abuse, you are now healing from the manipulations, you are now healing from just the all out toxic behavior, you literally can spot the tactics from a mile away. And when you're dealing with people that the only way that they know how to communicate is through manipulation, is through abuse, and through putting somebody else down in order to feel good about themselves. When you're able to get out of their presence and you've basically been schooled by them. They have basically taught you the art of manipulation. And when you get out of their presence and you get into new company and you get into new situations, it's very important that you set boundaries early on. If you notice the cycles of abuse, and if you notice that these individuals that you are now around possess these traits, because you are a light bearer, anointed ones, because you carry divine light, you can't help it. You are going to attract all types of individuals. You are going to attract people that have not done the work on themselves. And because they have not done the work on themselves, your freedom, your light, your sense of self is going to disrupt them. Your sense of self is going to disturb the unhealed version of these individuals. And the first thing that unhealed people do is they have to shrink you a little bit. Your freedom is an insult to them. So in your freedom and in your being your authentic self, it kind of irritates them a bit. And because it irritates them a bit, the first thing that you do when you go outside and you see the sun shining, you have to put your hand up. You got to get glasses. You got to, because the light is so bright. So when you are the light bearer, anointed ones, when you are the bearer of light, don't be surprised when you get in these people's presence or when you get around individuals that refuse to do the work. Don't be surprised if they got to go like this. Don't be surprised if they got to put on their shade or throw shade. It's because they have not done the work, and you standing in your authenticity, you standing in your truth, is going to be blinding. So you as the light bearer, or you as the empathetic, you as the healed version of yourself, you cannot take on their trauma. You cannot take on their insecurities. You cannot take on their feeling less than. Don't internalize that, because what will end up happening is every time you shrink, every time you take a piece of yourself and you dim just a little bit, dim just a little bit, dim just a little bit, you are actually reducing yourself. You are reducing your spirit. You are reducing your essence to make somebody else comfortable. And if you are in these cycles of abuse, and if you are around people that's how they communicate. That is how they communicate. And that's why it's so important that as you become more aware, as you become more awakened, as you become a little bit more conscious of self and conscious of patterns that repeat, it is very important that you now have to make it a conscious decision that I am not carrying the weight of anybody's feelings. I am not carrying the weight of anybody's just lack of self. If they don't want to do the work and they want to throw all of that on you and dump all of that on you, you cannot internalize that. It is not your fault that they don't want to live out their dreams. It is not your fault that they don't want to do the work on themselves. It's not your fault that the only way that they know how to communicate is through manipulation and toxicity. That's not your fault. So when you go on that healing journey and that self-discovering journey, and you start to unpack your trauma, you start to unpack your pain, you start to unpack the years of abuse, and you now say, okay, I'm free, and you finally come to that stage where, okay, I'm not owning your toxicity, I'm not owning your abuse, I'm not owning your lack of self control. And you get around these individuals that now are trying to put you back in that cycle, you will recognize that really quick. And when you recognize that, there's a part of you that wants to pull away. There's a part of you that don't even want to be bothered because you've gone through the pain already. You understand the patterns. You know what to look for in manipulators. You know what to look for in people that want to keep you small. So now they've taught you, like literally, toxic people are your teachers. They teach you. So you learn to understand their tactics. And when you come across another set of people that are like that, the first thing is like your red flags go up. You get your spidey sense and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I've seen this before. I'm not repeating this. And that is part of the healing journey. So in that way, you are not belittling yourself to make those comfortable around you, comfortable in being in your presence. And once you heal, your spirit can no longer take being around individuals that have not done the work. You spot them. You notice their tactics. You notice, like, wait a second, this person wants me to feel small. Wait a second, this person wants me to feel incompetent. Wait a second, this person wants me to feel like I'm not him, I'm not her. So the moment you start to recognize those things, you're going to start to pull away. You're going to start to pull away. And that's part of the learning journey. That's part of the healing process. Is recognizing patterns, is recognizing behaviors. It's recognizing that I came here to be in full expression of myself. I came here to master myself. And there are individuals that they have not mastered anything about themselves, but because they're so deep-seated in the art of control and manipulation, their life will be falling to shambles. They will ignore that completely, and they will see a person that's striving for their best. They will see a person that actually wants to do the work. And what do? They want to control them. They want to manipulate them. They want to dishonor them. Meanwhile, their life is not even in the right state that it needs to be. They completely neglect what they got going on. They completely neglect their healing journey. They completely neglect their self-discovery, all to bring you down a notch. And when you are an empath, and when you are so used to taking on other people's issues, and you are so used to bearing other people's burdens, you are so used to feeling other people's feelings and soaking it up like a sponge. It's literally a blessing and a curse. But when you are that empath, you have to learn to draw that energetic boundary to say, okay, I see you projecting on me, but I'm not going to absorb that. Okay, I see that you're trying to belittle me, but I am not going to shrink myself to make myself more digestible for you. And that's important for the empath. That's important when you're healing. That's important on your self-discovery. To say, okay, I recognize what you're doing. I recognize the tactics that you're using, but I refuse to absorb that. And that's part of observing and not absorbing. because in this life, you are going to have to deal with individuals. You're going to have to deal with people. You're going to have to deal with people with different personality traits, different upbringings, different ways of life, different religions. You're going to have to deal with people. But a part of it is observing their behavior, but not absorbing it, not taking it on as your own. If someone is having a bad day and they need a dumping site, they want to dump their garbage on you. They want to dump their frustrations on you. I can observe you. I can see, okay, this person is having a bad day. But why should I absorb your feelings and absorb your discontent and absorb your lack of self-control and now make it my own? In this season, anointed, you are not doing that. In this season, anointed, you are recognizing their patterns. You are recognizing the way that they deal with you. You are recognizing that, okay, this person is a little controlling. This person is a little manipulative. But then you are not making it your own. You're not sucking up what they're feeling. You are not sucking up what they're going through and now wearing it. And that's part of the art of manipulation. They need you to wear their feelings. They need you to wear their discontentment. They need you to wear their miserableness, because that saying, misery loves company. And on that healing journey, anointed, because a lot of you guys have been manipulated. A lot of your lives have been controlled by these individuals that they can't even get their stuff together, and they see you making strides, and their job is to manipulate your viewpoint, manipulate your life. It makes them feel better. So when you realize that, okay, I'm recognizing you, I'm recognizing the spirit you carry, but I'm not taking that with me. I'm not making that my own. And the moment you set those boundaries, anointed one, your healing journey is going to become more clear. Your purpose in life is going to be so much more clear, because how many of us growing up, our families only made an image to portray what they wanted to be seen on the outside. Like, picture wise, you guys look good. In photos, you guys look good. You guys look like the perfect family. You guys look like the perfect group. But if you dissect that, there is so much going on behind the scenes. There's so much manipulation. There's so much jealousy. There's so much control. There's so much toxicity behind the image that these individuals are portraying. So when you get to the point where you realize, okay, this is not normal. Okay, I'm in control of my life. I'm going to take the seat on my consciousness. I'm going to take the seat of my life, basically, because that's what we're here for. We're here to learn life. We're here to master life, master the art of life. And if you just continue going along to get along, if you continue just holding those same patterns because that is what is considered normal, or just to not ruffle others' feathers, you're doing yourself such a disservice. So in this season, we are observing and not absorbing. And once you get out of those toxic patterns and out of toxicity itself, your job is to recognize, but do not take it on, and do not allow the patterns to continue. This is where boundaries come in. This is where a clear sense of self come in, because if you allow people to interject their feelings on you, if you allow people to interject their discontentment and their miserableness on you, you are going to be in a constant cycle of trying to please. You are going to be in a constant cycle of not speaking your truth and not standing in your truth, only to make others comfortable, only to make others happy. Meanwhile, you yourself, anointed ones, will be suffering on the inside. So in this season, observe, do not absorb. Make clear boundaries and understand that just because you refuse to wear someone else's emotions, because you refuse to wear somebody else's pain, you're not a bad person. You're not a bad person. You just know what you don't want in your life, and you know what is acceptable now that you have healed. I love you guys. Have a beautiful and a blessed day. And remember, always, always be kind.